Hey guys, and welcome to a video on a deck that will allow you to cheaply and easily start racking up wins in Magic Arena, even if you don't have any rares or mythics that you want to use. This deck has no rares and no mythics, only requires 8 uncommon cards in order to work at pretty much full effectiveness, and then a bunch of other commons and uncommons that can kind of help the deck to succeed in its game plan. So the deck is called Triple H, Huge Hexproof Horse. It's a variation of Green Stompy, which is a deck that aims to get out big creatures as quickly as possible and then just ride them to victory. Now, the reason it's called Huge Hexproof Horse is the deck's namesake, Vine Mare. Vine Mare is a 4-mana 5/3 with Hexproof, with an additional line that can't be blocked by black creatures, but that's not super important. That is a nightmare for most opponents to remove. At the very least, Vine Mare almost always trades with whatever the opponents have on the field, as 5 power is a lot. Hexproof makes it impossible to remove with the exception of board wipes such as Settle the Wreckage or Cleansing Nova, and it's just a generally amazing card. So this is the first of the 8 uncommons, and then the other 4 uncommons are Blanchwood Armor. So Blanchwood Armor is an enchantment that gives your creature +1/+1 for each force you control. You get a Vine Mare on the field, and then you equip a Blanchwood Armor to it, and you're pretty much guaranteed to have a 9/7 Hexproof creature swinging in every turn, which is pretty amazing. It gets bigger with every forest that you throw on the field, and it's just a very easy and fun strategy to use to destroy your opponents. So the rest of the card choices are mostly made with budget in mind. Like I said, there's no rares and no mythics in the entire deck, and they're mostly made to allow you to get to 4 mana while running a few less than 24 lands. I'm running 22 here. As well as to remove creatures or other effects that opponents might have that would prevent your Huge Hexproof Horse from swinging in for victory. So Llanowar Elves is probably one of the best creatures ever printed. It allows you to be a full turn ahead of your opponents in terms of mana, as long as it doesn't get removed. On turn 2, if you played Llanowar Elves on turn 1, you can play any of your 3-drops, such as Colossal Majesty, District Guide, Rex Sage, or Generous Stray. And on turn 3, you can play the Vine Mare. So Llanowar Elves is just an amazing card. It's only a common, and definitely earns its place in the deck. Crawl Harpooner, this is not really needed in the deck. However, this can allow you to kill off flyers that may cause the deck problems, as the deck has no flyers, and with the exception of the Harpooners right now, it has no cards with reach. So I've got it in here right now, but this card could easily be switched out for something else. Merfolk Branchwalker does something similar to Llanowar Elves, where it allows you to look for lands in your deck with the Explorer and fix bad draws if you've got, for example, 2 lands, but you haven't drawn another one, and you really need to get that 3rd land so that next turn you can play something like District Guide to get another land, or Colossal Majesty so that your Vine Mare will start drawing cards early as possible. Nature's Spiral, this isn't really needed in the deck, but it allows you to get a Vine Mare or a Blanchwood Armor back from the graveyard if your opponent does manage to kill off your Huge Hexproof Horse. Not super required, but it's not a bad card. It's just, this is a pretty easy slot to replace. Rabid Bite is one of the more important cards. I would put it up at the top with Llanowar Elves. It's pretty much the only removal the deck is able to play. Green does not get access to very much removal, so Rabid Bite allows you to use your Vinewood Mare or any other cards to remove key creatures your opponents may have. For example, if your opponent has a 5/2 First Striker, or even something like Lyra, which is a 5/5, you cannot swing your Vinewood Mare into that, as Lyra will kill your Vinewood Mare and survive. However, you can use Rabid Bite on your Vinewood Mare targeting Lyra to kill off Lyra and keep your mare alive so that it can swing it through. Very important card. I would definitely run at least 3, if not the entire playset of 4 in the deck. Talons of Wildwood is something I've actually been pretty impressed with. I might actually go up to 2 or 3 of these. It basically acts as more copies of Blanchwood Armor, while also giving Trample. And Trample is pretty important because creature token decks are able to chump the Vinewood Mare pretty much as long as they want, as long as you've only got a single Vinewood Mare. So even if your Vinewood Mare is massive and you've got it at like 13 and 11, if they just throw a 1/1 token in front of it every turn, you're not going to kill them, and they can just keep swinging in and hitting your face. So Talons of the Wildwood, very impressed with it, and it also allows you to bring it back from the graveyard to your hand for 3 mana, which means for 5 mana, you can bring it back from the graveyard, and put it back on another creature if your creature is equipped to dies. I've also used this to bring stuff like Llanowar Elves out of range of ping effects, if I really need them to keep them on the field for extra mana, or done them with stuff like Crawl Harpooner to block flyers that have 4 toughness, such as the Enigma Drake or the Crackling Drake in Is It Drakes. Just a generally good card that I would definitely like to get a few more of, but I'm actually out of common wild cards. Blanchwood Armor, so I'll skip on Tamed Kavu. This is literally just a creature. It's got Trample already, and if you draw it late game, you don't mind because it becomes a 5/5 Trampler. Not amazing, very easy to replace, but I've got it in there for now because there's nothing better. Once I get another common wild card, I'll probably replace it with the Talons of Wildwood. Blanchwood Armor, like I already said, this is pretty much what makes the deck work. You throw this on a Vinewood Mare, and instantly pretty much nothing in the game can really contest the Vinewood Mare, with the exception of some huge green creatures like Galta or Gigantosaurus. Colossal Majesty is the deck's only real source of card draw. As long as your Vinewood Mare is on the field, Colossal Majesty will draw you an extra card every turn, which is pretty nice because they can't really remove the Vinewood Mare, or the Vine Mare. I'm calling it Vinewood Mare because that's what I call it once it has the Blanchwood Armor on it, but it's really just a Vine Mare. Because as long as the Vine Mare is on the field, they can't really remove it because it's hexproof unless they have a sweeper. And as a result, you can just kind of sit back with the Vine Mare and keep drawing 2 cards a turn while they just draw 1. Pretty nice card, very nice to have in the deck, and if you're going to upgrade the deck, I would try to find a few more creatures with 4 power or greater, just to take advantage of Colossal Majesty. District Guide does the exact same thing as Merfolk Branchwalker, but in a more reliable way. Merfolk Branchwalker only explores, which means if the top card of your deck is not a land, it doesn't actually help you to get... It doesn't help you all that much, as it's basically just a scry effect. It does make this a 3/2, but you don't really play this to get a 3/2 on the board, you play this to smooth out your land draws. District Guide guarantees that you will draw a new land card, put it in your hand, and so that next turn, so you play this in turn 3, turn 4 you're guaranteed to have 4 mana, and you can play your Vine Mare. Very good card. I would definitely keep the District Guides, the Llanowar Elves, and the Rabidbite in the deck at all times. Finally, we move on to the last 3 cards. Generous Stray, similar to Untamed Kavu. This is a very easy card to replace. I'm using this because it allows me to dig deeper into the deck in order to find my Vine Mares, but this could be plenty of other cards. There's actually a fairly good uncommon, that Adventurous Impulse, that does pretty much the same thing, except it's only 1 mana and it doesn't put a body on the board. But this allows you to dig 3 cards deep to find a creature or land, and also helps smooth out your land draws, just like the Merfolk Branchwalker and the District Guide do. So that's a pretty easy way to replace the Generous Stray. Rex Sage is a body that allows you to destroy target enchantment or artifact. This is also another card that you could probably easily replace, but it's pretty nice because there's a lot of powerful enchantments running around right now. White uses a lot of them, such as Conclave Tribunal or Seal Away. Red has Experimental Frenzy, blue has Search for Azcanta. There's just a lot of very powerful enchantments running around right now, and Rex Sage allows you to destroy those, as well as any artifacts that happen to be doing shenanigans that you don't want to deal with. Thrashing Brontodon does the same thing, but with a much better body. However, at the cost of you need to sacrifice the Brontodon in order to do so. However, Brontodon you can keep on the field and use it at instant speed, just by paying the 1 mana. So it's an extra mana and you lose the body, but this is much more useful if they don't have an enchantment than Rex Sage is, as it's a 3/4 instead of a 2/1, which is a very respectable stat line for a 3-drop. And then of course there's Vine Mare, which it's the namesake of the deck. It's insanely powerful. You want 4 of these at all times. The deck doesn't really work without the Vine Mare. So before I show you guys some gameplay footage and sort of walk you through how the deck plays, I'm going to show you how the deck can be upgraded. So I've been toying around with this for about a day now, an upgraded version of it, and really there's a few easy ways to upgrade the deck, and by that I mean there's really 2 cards that upgrade the deck in a really nice way, and then there's a few other ways that the deck can also be upgraded, but I'm still kind of experimenting with and finding the right numbers. But the 2 easy ways are Vine Mares 5 through 7, Nullhide Ferox, and Vine Mare, expensive Vine Mares, but even better, Carnage Tyrants. So Carnage Tyrant, I believe you get one of these in one of the intro decks. insanely powerful, cannot be countered, comes with trample naturally. Unless the opponent is playing white, there's pretty much no way for them to remove this card. Black, I suppose, could use an edict, but Carnage Tyrant is just insane. This card will make control players cry unless they have Settle the Wreckage. It will make aggro players cry unless they can finish you off in like the next turn. This card does it all. Unfortunately, it's also 6 mana, so you're getting what you pay for, but in this case, it's worth it. I would actually probably go up to 2 or at most 3 of these. You don't want that many more, because the deck does want to end the game a little earlier than turn 6 in most cases. Aggressive Mammoth you also get in the intro deck. This gives all creatures you control trample, and is also an 8/8 for 6 naturally, which is pretty powerful. I would only really want to play 2 of these because it is pretty expensive, just like Carnage Tyrant, but it's a pretty good card that I'm never really sad to draw unless I'm being mana screwed. Nullhide Ferox is pretty much the closest equivalent to Vine Mare. Unfortunately, it's a mythic, but it's a 6/6 with hexproof instead of a 5/3, but with a pretty big drawback. You cannot cast non-creature spells while Nullhide Ferox is on the field, which means you cannot put Blanchwood Armor on it, or Talons the Wildwood without paying to remove the hexproof. You can pay 2 mana to make it lose hexproof and the ability to, and you'll gain the ability to cast non-creature spells until the end of the turn. But your opponents can also pay for this, which means it doesn't have true hexproof. As long as your opponents pay an extra 2 mana, they can use any removal spell they want to kill the Nullhide Ferox. It will cost them more, but it's nowhere near as safe to throw Blanchwood Armor on the Nullhide Ferox as it is to throw it onto the Vine Mare or the Carnage Tyrant. However, it's still a very powerful card. It's especially funny when the opponent makes you discard a card using something like Burglar Rats, and you just drop the Nullhide Ferox on the field on turn 2, and you just see the black player sort of regretting all their life choices. So this is what I'm at so far for upgrading the deck. I'll probably make an upgraded, like a true Triple H upgraded deck list in a few days, but for now I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Anyways, on to gameplay footage. The playing of the deck. So opening the hand, you can see that it doesn't really have everything that I want. So I'm probably going to mulligan. Oh, once again. Wow, having to mulligan all the way down to 4. That is not a great look. So let's see if we can still win, despite the fact that we only have 4 cards to start with versus the opponent's 7, and we are also on the draw. Hopefully the opponent isn't actually playing Boros like their name suggests, because if they are, we are in trouble against a decent aggro deck. Now, the only plus side to our current draw is if we get a single other land, and we are on the draw, then we can play District Guide on turn 2, provided they don't remove the elves, and as such, we will smooth out our lands. But that is a lot to ask, and it's not like we actually have anything to play after the District Guide. So just got to really hope that we draw a land next turn, or a Merfolk Branchwalker, in order to smooth out our mana base. Now, thankfully, because this is a mono-green deck, we don't need to worry about having to play other colors. We don't need to be worrying about getting screwed out of white or black, or whatever other color you want to play with the green. So he plays a Thorn Lieutenant. Oh, and I get the Merfolk Branchwalker. Alrighty. So this is why we play the Merfolk Branchwalker. It's really good for making sure that we get the lands we need when we need them, especially because we're not playing 24, we're only playing 22 lands. Now normally 22 lands isn't a problem for getting to 4 mana, especially in green with all the mana fixing we have, but when you mulligan down to 4 with only a single land in hand, the Merfolk Branchwalker is definitely appreciated. Alright, so they play Vraska Golgari Queen. That is... oof. Alright. Okay, they didn't -3 our Llanowar Elves, which is good because that would have been really bad for us. The Llanowar Elves is currently really needed in order for us to sort of win the game. So I play the District Guide because I got the Vine Mare. Take the action for sure. And here's why we play District Guide, because the Merfolk Branchwalker, that could have easily missed. That could have hit nothing, and we could have been stuck on 1 land still. But fortunately for us, it drew us a land, and then District Guide guaranteed us another land, and as long as the Llanowar Elves doesn't die, we get that Vine Mare out next turn. Now, even if Vine Mare didn't have Hexproof, Vraska Golgari Queen cannot actually -3 to kill it, because her ability kills creatures with, what is it? I want to say converted mana cost of 3 or less, which is why I'm kind of surprised that she hasn't killed off my Llanowar Elf yet, because it's pretty clear that I've been stuck on mana for a while now. So, draw another land. Don't really need more land at this point, but it's not bad, especially if she does remove the Llanowar Elves. And I will play the Vine Mare. Now, she's left up a decent amount of blockers that can also kill my Vine Mare, unfortunately. So I've got to be kind of careful. And that Planeswalker is going to be trouble for me. Especially because if she just -3s 2 turns in a row, I will lose 2 out of my 4 creatures. Alright, so I'm kind of confused as to why they killed off their own land. But right now, I just want to focus on sort of buffing up my Vine Mare and going in for the kill. Now this is why I would like more Talons of the Wildwood. Still not sure why she's killing off her own lands. Maybe she's getting mana flooded? Who knows? But either way, this is why I'd like to run Talons of the Vinewood, because it allows me to get my Vine Mare trample and put it at 4 health, which is much safer than being at 4 toughness. So unfortunately, Rapid Bite does trigger Thorn Left on its ability, which puts a 1/1 on the field, but a pair of 1/1s cannot block Vine Mare in the same way that the 2/3 and the 1/1 can. This keeps my Vine Mare safe and lets me swing my entire board at Miss Golgari Queen there. Now he can kill the Branchwalker, or he can kill the District Guide, but he can't kill both. He's probably going to kill the Branchwalker. Oh, Assassin's Trophy, okay. The Assassin's Trophy is a very good card. It's probably one of the best cards printed in the last year. However, its main weakness is definitely that it does ramp your opponent. Like, if he'd used that to kill my Llanowar Elves earlier, I wouldn't have minded at all, because I really don't mind getting an extra land for Llanowar Elves. That's literally just replacing my elf with an undestroyable version of itself. So, let's see what they're playing. Kitesail Freebooter, but unfortunately, this deck really does not play very many non-creature cards. I want to say I've only got 9 in total. Or 13, actually. No, 11. I've got the 4 Rabid Bites, I've got the 4 Blanchwood Armors, I've got 3 Colossal Majesties, so 12, and then the 1 Talons of the Wildwood. So Kitesail Freebooter misses, doesn't really do anything, just gives her a 1/2 that cannot block my Vine Mare. She has to block the Vine Mare with the Llanowar Elves. And I have to go all in to attack the Vraska this turn, as otherwise she will ult. And I will die when that Kitesail Freebooter soars over my creatures to kill me in one shot. Which would not be a very fun way to die. Now the reason I attack with the elf here is so that if she does kill off if she does -9 Vraska to get the ultimate off, Vraska will die. If I use the elf. If right now Vraska doesn't die by ulting because she has 10, but she has to block with Kitesail and Llanowar if she wants to save Vraska and be able to ult, and she has to block with at least Llanowar there if she wants Vraska to live. So now I'm in a pretty good spot. I've got 2 Vine Mares, neither of them can be blocked by the Kitesail Freebooter. Miss Golgari Queen there is still going to keep +2ing, but it's not really doing much because the +2 isn't really card advantage, it's just fixing. It's sort of like a rummage ability. She's destroying something already on the field in order to get another card. So I'm going to keep going for Golgari here because I do not want that source of card advantage to continue affecting the game. That needs to go away. Once that goes away, she doesn't seem to have much in the deck that can actually stop me. They don't have the mana to play something like a Gigantosaurus or a Ghalta. and Doom Whisperer cannot block the Vine Mares anyways, so I don't really need to worry too much about a big black card, such as Doom Whisperer or Demon of Catastrophes. Alright, and with that, I have full board control despite having mulling to 4. Never really saw what their deck did, and nice easy win. So that was one game. I'll show you guys one more game. So this game kind of showcases what the deck can do. I've got a pretty nice starting hand. 3 Forest, Merfolk, Branchwalker, Colossal Majesty, and Vine Mare, which means as long as Merfolk gets me sort of any land, or I draw any land in the first 4 turns, I'll be able to play Vine Mare on curve, Colossal Majesty on curve, and start drawing an extra card every turn. And yeah, there's not really much the opponent can do to stop it. So I'll play a Forest, they'll play a Fanatical, Merfolk Branchwalker, drawing a District Guide. I'll get rid of that because I've already got the 4th land that I need. I don't really need to go above 4 lands in order to make this deck work. Merfolk Branchwalker becomes a 3/2, which is very nice in this matchup because the Fanatical Firebrand cannot kill it on its own. He plays another pair of Goblins. Alright, I'll just drop the Colossal Majesty here. So he's going to swing at me. I'll block with one of the Goblins. He'll then crack his Firebrand, I imagine. Yeah, he cracks his Firebrand to kill the Branchwalker. And he does nothing this turn, which means that I drop the Vine Mare. There is nothing that red can do to kill this Vine Mare. Without a Sweltering Suns effect in Standard, he can only do 2 or 1 damage to my board at the time. I'm now drawing 2 cards a turn. I've got a second Vine Mare in my hand. Yep, the game is over. So that's what happens when you get a good curve. There is nothing the opponent can really do to prevent you from dominating the field. And as a result, you just win naturally. Anyways, guys, that is the deck tech for Huge Hexproof Horse. Hopefully this deck allows you to sort of get a decent deck that will allow you to start racking up some wins, getting your daily and weekly wins, and enjoying all that Magic Arena has to offer without spending all your valuable rare and mythic wildcards. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you liked it, and have a good one.